There are so many reasons to love woolen nappy covers, but washing wool can be scary, especially wool that, unlike the woolen sweater that your nana knitted you, has been exposed to urine and poo. Clean Cloth Nappies are this amazing group of mums who got together to create a science-backed website about washing cloth nappies to make cloth nappying more accessible. They have the largest and best run cloth nappy Facebook group, and after a year and a half of cloth napping my daughter, I absolutely swear by all of their wisdom. Now you can very easily just refer to their website for instructions on how to wash wool covers, but since a lot of us are visual learners, I thought it might be really helpful to have a video today where I show you exactly how it's done. So I got to give full credit to CCN Clean Cloth Nappies for creating this wash routine, for doing all the research to understand why it works. Now let's just dive right in. To get started, let's talk about the basic care of woolies. So woolies are used over a fitted nappy or a folded, pre-fold or flat nappy. So something like baby behinds or just like a classic terry towel. They need to be aired out between uses. So at home what we do is we have a ladder next to our change table where we hang them to air them out during the day, and then we just use them at nighttime. You can also use the side of a cot or the end of a bed or whatever you've got around, anywhere that's a little bit breezy for them to air out. Now woolies cannot be included in the nappy wash cycle, and we'll talk about why in a minute. The good news is though, they can be used many times before they need to be washed. For me, using them at nighttime, that normally is about 3 to 4 months. Basically, you know it's time to wash them when they start to feel a little bit damp or they start to be a little bit leaky, so you can feel wetness on the outside because the lanoline's starting to wear off. Or some people report that when it's time to wash they start to get some smells, but we've never had any smells with them. They also need to be lanolized when they're new and after every wash. Lanolin is used to create water resistance because it repels moisture, and yes, it is the stuff that you used on your nipples when you were learning to breastfeed. Some things that you should never do with your wool: you should never use hot water, you should never use a detergent with enzymes, you should never use bleach, and you should never twist or wring wool to remove any water because they can lose their shape really easily. How do we wash them? To wash them, you're going to need a wool wash, for example Softly, or a liquid enzyme-free detergent like Liquid Surf or Fab. You'll see in this video that I use an Earth Choice brand, which is like an eco-friendly brand, and I've seen in the CCN group that they actually don't recommend this one. Apparently it's not very effective, so I've just been using it to use it up, but I'll probably get a better one when I need to buy some more. You'll also want some Sard laundry soap to remove the stains, and some lanolin. Yes, as I said, this is the one that you may have used as a nipple cream when you were first learning to breastfeed if you breastfed. And you'll also want a towel. I say the bigger the better, so you'll see I use a very big towel. It really helps to remove the water from them. So here's the step-by-step process. You are going to fill up a sink or a bucket with some lukewarm water and add a small amount of wool appropriate detergent. Use the laundry soap to gently rub and give a little bit of a rub and scrub to any stains or marks that you can see. Then you want to turn them inside out, put them in the water and leave them to soak. While they're soaking, it's a good idea to get the lanolin mixture ready because as soon as they come out of the wash, you're going to lanolize them. But we'll talk about how to lanolize in just a moment. Once they're done soaking, you're going to empty the sink or the bucket, gently squeeze out any water, fill it up again to rinse out the detergent, give them a wash, and then empty it and squeeze them out once more. Remember to never twist or wring a wool cover because it will lose its shape really easily. How to lanolize wool covers. So in a mug or a cup or a jar, you are going to add a pea-sized amount of lanolin, and yes, this is all you need. You'll hear other people saying to use more, but that will give you lanolin stains and it's just wasteful because it's not necessary. You only need a pea-sized amount. You're going to need a very small amount of an emulsifier. So that is basically something that helps oil and water to mix because lanolin is a kind of oil and you're going to mix it with hot water in a second, so you need something to help them combine. An emulsifier can be some dishwashing detergent, that's what I used here. You can also use some hand soap or body wash or some of your wool wash. You just need a tiny amount of one of those. Then you're going to add a small amount of boiled water, so you need to boil the kettle. Mix it up and you'll notice that the yellow lanolin will break up and turn the water milky. Once it's all milky and the lanolin is gone, you're going to tip it into a bucket or a baking dish or a lasagna tray or whatever you've got with about 500 mils of lukewarm water and swirl it around. Then you're going to get your woolly, make sure it's inside out and submerge it both sides and leave it to soak again. Once it's been soaking for 20 minutes, half an hour or several hours, it doesn't really matter, you will want to tip out the water, turn it in the right way, gently squeeze it out and then roll it up in a towel to remove the rest of the water, and then you're going to lay it flat somewhere to dry. The cover might be a little bit tacky once it's dry. This is totally normal, and with a few uses you won't even notice. It'll start to wear off. A little bit of lanolin might get on the towel that you used to dry them or on some nappies, but it will come off in any warm to hot wash, so it's nothing to worry about. Lastly, we're going to talk about sanitizing. sanitizing. So if you are familiar with cloth nappies, you'll know that sanitizing is what you do if you need to remove any smells or if they've got them secondhand. But sanitizing is very different with woolies because you can't use bleach or hot water, which is how you normally sanitize cloth nappies. The good thing about woolies is if you buy them new or make them yourself, you are not going to need to sanitize probably ever. The only reason I had to do some sanitizing was because I got mine secondhand on Marketplace. The sanitizing procedure that Clean Cloth Nappies has created is something that you can only access if you have a paid subscription. So I'm not going to share it here today. I am going to recommend it if you need it. So if you end up needing to sanitize, I'd say it's worth the $12 to go and follow that procedure on their website. I will say it's really funny. It felt like a high school science experiment, but the way they explain it on the website is great and it's totally doable. And then at least I could feel safe knowing that my secondhand woolies were totally safe to put on my baby daughter. There are a lot of things that I regretted buying in my first year as a parent, but woolies were not one of them. They have been nothing but helpful, especially once I got my head around how to wash them. So I hope that this was helpful. If you want to know about some things that I did regret in my first year of parenthood, I have a whole video about that you can go and check out. Thank you for being curious. You're an amazing parent just for being here. I'll see you next time.